Hello!
Hello!
And welcome to possibly the most controversial video that we will ever do on this channel, because what I have learned from life in general is if you have an opinion, you're an arse, basically.
Yeah. I'm just an arse in general, so
it's not untrue. So, much like the year of 2019, the decade of the, what are we calling this? The
tens?
The tens? Oh, it's fine.
Tens.
The tens and teens is also coming to an end. And with that, it's time for reflection. And, reflection in life, but more importantly, reflection when it comes to football. Much like my hairline, this decade has buggered off at quite the rapid rate. So, can you believe that we're actually nearly 2020 already?
That's quite strange.
This is genuinely mad, and life needs to apply the brakes.
And we've got the mad Euros coming up with so many different.
I know, but even that'll be in another decade. But we're not talking about that decade. We're talking about the one that's just been and gone, with a arbitrary team of the decade.
We are going to get canned for this, something
There's a very good chance of that, yeah. So we've gone with two distinctly different formations, so our teams will be slightly different. What formation have you gone with?
I have gone with 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3.
I've gone with 4-3-3, so if we can...
It can kind of...
It'll kind of work. But of course there will be many folks that will be left out, and folk will be very, very angry. So where else do you start with a football team but left back? No. We start in goal, and I don't think... we haven't seen each other's team, have we? But I think
no.
But I think we're pretty much nailed on there. I've gone with David De Gea.
Yeah. You can't really
argue with that, can you?
No.
Of course, there's the likes of Petr Cech and Thibaut Courtois. No, thank you.
I forgot about Thibaut Courtois.
As had I, actually, until I mentioned him there now.
Hugo Lloris.
Hugo Lloris is a decent shot, yep.
Joe Hart, I suppose.
Joe Hart, but he really trailed off towards the middle to the end.
Yeah, I was thinking more for his performances with City when they bought the league at the start of the decade.
As if United can do that in the 90s, but it's fine.
From a very shaky start.
Well, that's it. He signed in, 2011 for a fee of £18.9 million, which back then actually meant something. That's when it got you a soon-to-be world-class goalkeeper and not, bloody a third-choice left-back.
And not Jordan Ibe.
Not Jordan. Oh, God, aye.
Some of the saves the man makes are just out of this world. I mean, I know he had a bad season there, but he can't... The tail end of last season, he made a lot of mistakes. But
well, every keeper's gone through that, though, so it's,
you'd allow him for what he's done.
So like you say, had a bit of a shaky start his first season, but since then has got on to feature in the PFA Team of the Year 5 times this decade.
It reminded me very much of Ronaldo. He came to the club a wee skinny person, and after the first season, they just put him on the weights over the summer.
I think they just got him a shirt that fit.
Yeah.
It does wonders as a man who enjoys an extra small slim fit. I'm telling you, it does wonders for your confidence. He's won the Sir Matt Busby, the United Player of the Year thing. He's won that 4 times. He's won pretty much all the domestic titles you could win. He's won a Premier League title.
He's won the FA Cup.
Won the FA Cup. He's won
a
Europa League as well. Yeah. He won the Golden Glove in the 17-18 season. And he's still only 29, so he still arguably has his peak years ahead of him.
Still younger than me.
He's the same age as me. That's really quite depressing.
And moving on from the goalkeeper, I would say we go to right back.
We're passing the ball out. We're playing out of the back. We've played it to our right back, which I have gone for Kyle Walker at right back.
Yep, me too.
The only one I really could have thought to a rival would have been Zabaleta. Who was stellar up until the kind of twilight of his career. He's been at West Ham, where it's not really gone overly ideally for the Argentine.
No, I mean I had Valencia in my head, but wasn't really a right back. But he did very well there.
But put up against the likes of Kyle Walker, there's no real contest, is there?
The only other, if you wanted to go closer to this end of the decade, you could have looked at Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Far too soon.
Again, maybe far too soon for Wan-Bissaka as well.
Yeah, but going into the next decade, it'll definitely be between those two.
Yeah, between them, that'll be.
Kyle Walker, the most PFA Team of the Year appearances for a fullback this decade with 3, which surprised me. Well, it surprised me in terms of that it was that many, but it's not surprising in that he was in the Team of the Year, if that makes any sense.
It surprised me he was on that many, yeah.
Yeah, 3. He of course started the decade off at QPR, where he was on loan when they won the championship, which I completely forgot that he went on loan to QPR and was in the championship. Yeah, in 2010.
This face says I did too.
Yeah. Came back to Tottenham, and then he pretty much went on a tear since. He's been involved in 2 of the arguably top 4 teams of the decade, Tottenham and Man City, and was able to adapt to how each of those sides play pretty seamlessly, and he was able to create as much as he's able to defend.
He got himself a big money move to City. I think you can
Big £50 million move.
Yeah, I think that's really one of the best things you could say as well. He got himself a big money move.
Big money move, and Pep has managed to. Admittedly, last year he kind of went a little bit downhill, but like we said, everybody's going to have their down season.
Yes.
I prefer to have one kind of average season compared to the 7 or 8 beforehand, where it was.
When you've got players around you at Man City, like they do, you can get away with having an average one.
Exactly. In those above average seasons he's had, he's won 2 Premier League titles with Manchester City, an FA Cup and 2 League Cup titles. So you can't really argue with his decision to move on, can you?
Did alright.
We're about to do what every youth team coach tells you not to do and play across the box to our left back. Who have you gone for at left back?
I've gone for Patrice Evra.
Patrice Evra. See, this is the first one that we disagree on. Patrice Evra. I've gone for Cesar Azpilicueta. At left back, or Dave to his mates or people who can't be asked to pronounce his actual name. So tell me, why do you think this is the first one we disagree on? Why do you think Evra's made it in?
I just think Evra was right, barring the first game. Him and Vidic both weren't great. I mean, they get ripped off at half time against Man City, but he was always there. He was always consistent. He cared about the club, but I thought he was a great player. Became captain after a while.
But then you have to take into account he did go to West Ham.
Yeah, I'm not counting West Ham.
You have to. It was because I'm not
counting West Ham.
For me, Patrice Evra would have made it into last decade's team. Same with Nemanja Vidic, and the Rio Ferdinands. They hit their peak in that, and then they came into this decade. And you can't ignore the fact he went to West Ham this decade, and it did not go at all well for him. So I still have
Evra in there. I mean, there were the other options. I have you got Leighton Baines.
Leighton Baines I would put in ahead of Evra for this. Keep in mind, this is this decade we're talking about, from 2010. So just in case anyone's shouting at their screen currently.
Luke Shaw.
No, he's spent too much time out.
Who else?
Which isn't his fault, of course, but compared to...
I had another left back in there somewhere, and I can't remember now.
Ashley Cole.
Thank you, yes, Ashley Cole.
Ashley Cole's another one that I put into last decade.
But I tried to pick my team as best I could, taking personal feelings out of it.
Well, I'm completely neutral in this scenario because, spoiler, no Newcastle players made it into my team of the decade. Well, I'm going to go against your...
You're going to go against me?
Because I am armed with facts here. I've gone full Rafa here. I've got facts and stats. Azpilicueta signed for £7 million in 2012. Again, that's back when that was a reasonable chunk of change. The fact that he's equally adept along that back line. He can play centre back, right back, and then left back, especially with Felipe Luis, easy for me to say, came in for a hefty fee to Chelsea as to be their starting left back, and Azpilicueta, who is a natural centre or right back, got played ahead of him at left back and was able to deal with that admirably. Again, and it's of course titles isn't the be all and end all, but it does play a pretty big part in my team of the year. Azpilicueta in this decade won 2 Premier League titles with Chelsea, as well as an FA Cup and an EFL Cup, as well as a Europa League, 2 Europa League titles actually. He won 2 Europa Leagues. Not that matters for a Premier League team of the decade, but it's still an accomplishment worth talking about. And he won the Chelsea's Player of the Year in 2013-14, and has gone on to make over 350 appearances for the club since he signed. I just think he's a class player. I really do. I think Azpilicueta. It would be absolutely criminal if he didn't make it into anyone else's team for decade. Moving on to our centre back pairings, we'll go with the first centre back. Who do you have as one of your two centre backs?
Vincent Kompany.
I also have Vincent Kompany as one of mine. You can't not really.
No, the man's
an absolute ever-present. Well, whenever he wasn't plagued by injury, there's an absolute force at the back for Manchester City.
This is what I was saying earlier. I've tried to keep personal feelings out of it. That's why Vincent Kompany makes it into my team.
Although since 2010, which is when we're of course starting this from, he's still made over 200 Premier League appearances despite his kind of horrible injury record.
And that banger he scored at the end of last season.
Yeah, to pretty much win the title for City, which is...
Don't hit it, don't hit it, don't hit it.
We said it.
Oh, we said...
Oh, that's flown in the top corner.
Oh, that's
a ludicrous goal that he scored there.
Yeah.
He did start his career as a striker. So there you go. There's a fun fact for you. Along with like in this decade alone, of course there was achievements in his previous life at a club like Anderlecht. He was at Anderlecht, wasn't he?
He was at Anderlecht.
Yeah. Since 2010, he's won 4 Premier League titles, 2 FA Cups, and 4 League Cups, and that's just in the domestic front with City. Of course, they haven't won any European silverware. There you go. There's something for you to hang on to. He's appeared in the amount of individual accolades that he's got as well. I had to write them all down. That's why I've got notes. That's why I'm looking down all the time. There's nothing. Never mind. He's appeared in the PFA Team of the Year on 3 separate occasions. Premier League Player of the Season in 2011-12, and City's Player and Supporters Player of the Year in 2010-11. And he captained the club, of course, since 2011, since he left at the end of last season. So yeah, and he's an absolute gent as well. God love him. So
seems like a nice enough
being
chap.
Being a nice bloke will go a long way, in my personal opinion, of in any sort of team. So I think you can't not put Vincent Kompany in that team. Absolutely not.
Now, I have seen who your second centre half is.
Oh, we're moving directly on, are we?
Yes, we are, because you've just said being an absolute gent will play a part in getting in my team.
Yeah, fair enough, right.
Off you go.
I've gone for John Terry at centre back. Taking all personal feelings aside, because there's 1 or 2 in this team actually that I couldn't, I wouldn't be going bowling with, shall we say. John Terry, of course, is one of those, but
they wouldn't make the Christmas card list.
No, at this time of the year especially. But you can't argue with the fact that with what he's done the previous decade and this one as well. Like, he won 2 of his 5 Premier League titles in this decade, including he played every Premier League game in that 2014-15 title winning campaign, and he was I don't want to say getting on, but he was closer to the end of his career than he was to the start of it at that stage of his career. Added a 5th FA Cup to his collection, as well as a Europa League title and a Champions League. He was in the squad for the Champions League. If you talk to him and look at any pictures, you'll lead you to believe that he played, scored 3 overhead kicks, and saved a drowning child in that final. But it's on his resume. But I think just like John Terry, despite his advancing years towards the back end of his Chelsea career, that he was able to still adapt and be versatile enough to be a consistent starter in a Chelsea team that could have bought anybody to replace him.
Listen, I'm going to have to just jump straight in and say that my other one to go against that's Nemanja Vidic. I know you're going to say, like ever, a lot of it was the decade before, but the man's a warrior, and he epitomised to me what playing for Man United was all about. Like, the man was an absolute... The man shattered his collarbone in the middle of a game, and the physios come over to him, right, you're done, you're coming off, and Vidic's just going, no, just play on.
I would argue that John Terry got kicked in the head and nearly died. Still playing on. Plus my
personal feelings out of it, Nemanja Vidic is a far better defender than John Terry.
I have to jump in and say, just as a counterpoint, he left pretty much at the start of the decade, if not start to middle of the decade. Terry was there longer, so had more time to accomplish something this decade. So I can't put Vidic ahead of Terry.
I couldn't not have Vidic on my team.
There we go. We've differed on 2 now. There you go, this is good, variety and all that. Spice of life, except it's actually paprika, because paprika doesn't live there. So this is the part that's going to cause a little bit of debate and discussion, because we're playing different formations. So I have a defensive midfielder, I don't think you do. I think you've gone with the attacking midfielder.
I've gone with it.
Just going on there, just considering that you don't have a defensive midfielder, I shouldn't be having an attacking midfielder.
Well, the three I've got, you could play two centrally and one attacking. They could all just kind of interchange, to be honest.
That's fine. But with my out-and-out defensive midfielder, you already know who it is. I don't even need to tell you that it's N'Golo Kante. It's impossible to not put him in this scenario. If you're having a defensive midfielder in your team of the decade, it's just N'Golo Kante. It's just the way it is. Although, see, this is more of my thing where I could have shot myself in the foot here. It was like, oh, but he only arrived halfway through the decade. But look what he's done. You know, the impact that N'Golo Kante has made. He arrived halfway through the decade, but he was instrumental to the success of Leicester and Chelsea. He won back-to-back Premier League titles and got a big money move in between the two of them. Yeah, and you could see that he was the only player that left, really, in the summer after Leicester won the title, and their decline was pretty rapid. Well, not rapid, but there was you could significantly.
Mahrez left the season after, didn't he?
It's like you could tell significantly how much they relied on N'Golo Kante. In that time, Kante has won back-to-back Premier League titles with two different clubs. The first player since Eric Cantona to do that. There you go, another fun fact for you, fellow Frenchman. He won an FA Cup, a Europa League, and the small matter of a World Cup.
Just a wee trophy, like.
Another player who's got a myriad. There's a word. Of individual, I googled big words too. I was off today. Of individual titles for both Leicester and Chelsea, including each club's Player of the Year, Premier League Player of the Season in 2016-17, and he featured in the UEFA Team of the Year in 2018. And this is my favourite fact about N'Golo Kante thus far, up until the start of this season. So up until the start, not including this season, he has only missed 10 Premier League games since he came into the league. That's insane. The man's a machine. We need to harvest his DNA. So who's your first midfielder that you have?
Well, my first midfielder that I have, and I really don't think there needs to be a lot said, is Steven Gerrard.
Steven Gerrard. Explain.
He's Steven Gerrard. Listen, he's a Liverpool player. I'm not exactly fond of Liverpool, shall we say. But I can't. It's another one I can't not Gerrard in the team. I wanted Scholes on, but Scholes retired very at the start of 2011 and then came back for half a season, whereas Gerrard played on. I can't see too many centre midfielders even now that you could put up there against Gerrard and go, he's better than Gerrard.
Didn't win a title though. They won maybe, what was that, a League Cup maybe this decade?
Didn't win a title, but it doesn't really matter if you're good enough.
I suppose if we're going on an individual level, there's not really many that could touch him.
It's just because he played for a team that bottled the league God knows how many times.
Which I'm sure you were devastated about.
God, didn't sleep for days. But had he played for a Chelsea man, had he moved to a Chelsea man, certainly heaven forbid he could have moved to Man United, for argument's sake, he'd have won any trophy. It's like saying, like back in the 90s, if you wanted to do a 90s team, you would have had Alan Shearer, and Alan Shearer didn't win a league.
That's true, but he's the top goal scorer.
Yeah, Shearer had the chance to move to United and win trophies and went to Newcastle. Fair play to him, he wanted to go back to his...
I think you'll find he won an Intertoto Cup in that time. Won a trophy. Maybe a pre-season one here or there.
But, it doesn't necessarily have to be about winning titles if you're a standout player in a team.
Well, that is true. This is your team of the decade, so we might argue with your picks. So my second midfielder, of course, because I've got my holding midfielders, and this is the first of my more central midfielders. Yaya Toure. Don't forget his birthday, and everything will be fine.
Be alright.
I mean, who doesn't like cake, though, to be fair? It's going to be Colin Caterpillar and everything would have been sweet as. You'd even give him the face with the arse because it was his birthday and he didn't pick.
I mean, I'll be honest, I debated over whether to put Toure in or not and went for different.
You've gone for a different one than Toure.
I've gone for a different player than
Big Yaya.
Yeah. I went for a different Man City player,
I will be interested.
which we'll get to later.
I'll be interested to see who you've picked ahead of him. Okay, Toure, another 24 million in 2010. Big, hefty chunk of change. So he's right in the summer, right at the start of the decade. Again, another lad who's won every English sort of domestic title available. He won 3 Premier League titles, an FA Cup, where he scored the winning goal against Stoke in that final, which was incredibly dull, if I remember correctly, and 2 League Cups. And during his time, another thing, just because of his guile and his vision and his ability to adapt anywhere in that midfield, his pass success rate, because he was known for his passing obviously as well as the set pieces and the way that he could generally run a game. His pass success percentage never dropped below 85%. His lowest was 85.5%, which was his debut season in the league.
Wow.
Which is staggering. That's just in the Premier League, of course. You know, if you went to the Champions League, it might drop a little here or there, but they were just solely talking about the Premier League here. Another lad who has an absolute slew of individual accolades. So he's in 2 PFA Teams of the Year, he won City's Player of the Year, and he's claimed numerous Player of the Year accolades from his national confederations, such as African Player of the Year or Ivory Coast Player of the Year. So I couldn't look past Yaya Toure as one of those central midfield spots.
Well, my second midfield spot goes, and again, I'm going down the same lines as Sam Gerrard here. I really don't think there much needs to be said, but I go Frank Lampard.
I totally forgot about Frank Lampard in this when I was compiling this team. Completely forgot about the man.
You just say the name Frank Lampard, nothing else really much needs to be said there, you know. You could rhyme off that he's won numerous, you know, he's won Premier League, he's won FA Cups, he's won Champions League, Europa League.
Chelsea's top goal scorer.
Yeah, the man's just, he's their manager at the minute.
And a nice chap. Again, being a nice chap will do wonders for you.
How Fat Frank seems to be doing alright, look.
Oh, that's harsh. That's very harsh.
Like I say, I really don't think there's much needs to be said about Lampard. Like, everyone knows.
You know what Frank Lampard's about.
Yeah.
And the sort of individual brilliance that he had. And probably still has. I say
Yeah,
probably.
yeah. I'm sure he absolutely owns the majority of them in training every day. Like, where we were going to differ there, moving on to the third one.
Oh, so our third one must be similar. It must be the same, is it?
Yeah, where I had said that I left Yaya Toure out for this player was David Silva.
David Silva, yeah, that's what I've got here. It has to be David Silva. Admittedly, I've never had like a kind of. Whenever I watch David Silva play, I don't really have as much of a kind of connection with him. I don't know why, because he's clearly a phenomenal, like an elite central midfielder. But that's no personal feelings towards him. I'm just looking at it completely from a professional standpoint. There's absolutely no way he wasn't getting in this team.
I came very close to putting Juan Mata on, because as I've always said to you, Mata seems to play a different game than everybody else. Mata seems to have that extra 2 or 3 seconds that nobody else has. He's just so calm. He never seems rushed to just, right, I've got the ball. There you go. You can have the ball now. You know, where everyone's going mad around him and, you know, playing passes first time and maybe losing the ball, Mata's just standing there going.
And another lovely bloke. Probably the loveliest of the blokes.
Yeah.
We should do a team of lovely blokes.
Juan Mata, get on that, no
Rob
problem.
Mata will be in there, absolutely. David Silva, however, is also another lovely bloke.
He has stats and facts.
I did. This is what I do on my days off. Oh, I'm so cool. Be my friend, why don't you? You'll get loads of stats and unnecessary trivia. He joined City in 2010, and since then he's become the linchpin of their attack, contributing a total of 115 goal contributions in 297 appearances in the Premier League. That's at the time of writing, of course.
Quite good.
So that's goals and assists, of course. 115 in 297 appearances. Another lad who's won everything there is to win. Well, of course, with that City team, they just went through that period of dominance where they won titles for the crack. 4 Premier League titles, 2 FA Cups, 4 League Cups. And he was a key member in the greatest side that the league's ever seen, that City side.
Yeah.
That scored 106 goals, only conceded 27, and amassed a record 100 points. and he was integral to that season, which shows, especially with the players that they brought in by that stage, the amount of money they'd spent, to prove that David Silva was still getting in that team and still being integral.
He's a genius.
Shows the absolute class of that.
And nothing else to be said, really. He's a genius.
And of course, leaving at the end of this season, so that's the perfect 10-year career at Manchester City for David Silva. So the ball has progressed from the keeper to the defence, up through the midfield, and we're playing it out wide to our right-hand side. So we're going with, it's 4-3-3 essentially is what we're both going with here. So on the right-hand side of that three, I have gone with Raheem Sterling.
Oh, he who runs like a penguin.
On the right hand, and you know my affinity for penguins, so again, that's another thing that will appeal to me, because I am a simple idiot. Right, I don't know about you, but there was one or two players in this team, when I was putting this team together, where I thought, where I kind of hummed and hawed on. This was one, because I felt like he hasn't been doing it as long as a lot of his contemporaries in this team. Until I look back and see just how long he's been in the start. He's been in around the first team squad.
Years.
And it's a lot. Yeah, around 2012 is when he made his Liverpool debut. Came on as in the Premier League. Came on as a substitute against Wigan at the age of 17 years and 107 days. And then of course he got his big money move from Liverpool to Manchester City in July 2015 for a reported £50 million, which to me I thought was mad at the time. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit.
But since then have been proved massively wrong, because his speed of progression and development has gone supernova since then.
Do you ever notice that we just get proved wrong all the
All
time?
the time. It's as if we don't know anything about football and are bluffing it to the nth degree.
Although I am beating you in fantasy football, so it's
I
fine.
need to shut up about that. Links to our fantasy football league in the description below, because you'll probably still catch me even at this stage of the game. The thing beforehand, it was he was kind of like struggling in front of goal. That was everyone's kind of thing. No finished product. But he's gone on to, he's becoming a proven Premier League scorer. He's got 74 goals in 239 league appearances, as well as 44 assists. Again, at the time of writing, that will absolutely change going into the rest of the season. Again, he's another lad since moving to Manchester City. It's essentially my team's essentially just a lot of City players. He's won 2 league titles, 2 FA Cups, 2 League Cups. Again, a number of individual awards. However, I just think it's the level that he's progressed to for a man who's still yet to hit his prime. He's still under 25, and he's up there in the top, I'd say top 5 best wingers in the world, if not top 3 at this stage of his career on current form. And especially last season, I think he got 16 goals, 11 assists. I probably pulled that out of my arse. He got a lot of assists and a lot of goals last year. But yeah, I think Raheem Sterling, again, even though he was the one I kind of hummed and hawed about, I think I've convinced myself that he should be starting on the right hand side.
This is where we kind of differ. I've gone Mo Salah.
I can see why, but
listen, again, what he's done since he came to Liverpool, I'm kind of taking out. Right, okay, I know he was at Chelsea for whenever he was at Chelsea.
A cup of coffee in the big time.
But listen, since he arrived at Liverpool, again, it was one of these. I went, Chelsea reject coming to Liverpool. What's he going to do? Well,
and light up the league is what he's going to do.
Yeah, Liverpool don't look the same team when he's not playing.
But see, that the thing about Salah was for me the same reason why I was humming and hawing about Sterling. So I thought he hasn't done it. Well, obviously, of course, he's only been in the league. He's been in the league considerably less amount of time than a lot of the other players in his team. But that was the reason I didn't put him in.
Salah was one for me that, much as it breaks my heart, I couldn't not have him in the team.
So we move over to the other side of our front three, and I again haven't looked at your team, but I assume it's the same, because if it's not, then me and you are going to have serious bloody words.
We might have a full night.
Who have you gone with?
Eden Hazard.
Eden Hazard, I thought so, yes. Because, again, you can't not.
Yeah, you can't not.
The thing about the wingers in these teams is, like, there's been, like, I wouldn't say there's been, like, an outstanding, like, a top crop of, like a top 5.
Yeah,
if you know what I'm trying to say, there hasn't been an abundance of world-class wingers this decade, I don't think. But the ones who have been up there have been so exceptional but they would have topped that list anyway, probably.
Yeah.
And Eden Hazard is probably top of that list.
Yeah, Hazard, you couldn't. Listen, I had a few wingers there that you could have possibly put in. Could have put Bale in. I actually thought about Willian for a while.
The scourge of my virtual footballing life is William. Scores against me in every aspect of virtual football.
He's a top quality player, to be fair. I also looked at Rashford and Martial for that side, but
I would have had to hit you.
As much as I love the two of them, I couldn't. That's Eden Hazard every day.
It's no contest, absolutely no contest. Eden Hazard gets in this team. Since his arrival in 2012, made 245 Premier League appearances for Chelsea, scored 85 league goals, which is not as many as I thought he had, truth be told. This is just league goals, of course.
Yeah.
And got 54 assists whilst complete. And I wanted to see his dribble number, like an average of his dribble numbers in the league, because of how consistent he's. How he's one of the best dribblers in the league, which he absolutely is. Arguably is the word I'm looking for. There we go. We can speak eventually.
Get there eventually.
Arguably one of, if not the best dribbler the league has ever seen. I'd go as far to say.
He's up there. I wouldn't necessarily say he's the best, but he's up there.
He's definitely in the conversation.
Yeah.
Got an average of 3.7 complete dribbles per game, so which is pretty spectacular for and that's just again just in the league. Just in the league. Again, another lad who's won an absolute plethora of silverware. 2 Premier League title wins, FA Cup, League Cup, Europa League. As well, he's won their Premier League Player of the Season in 2014-15, Team of the Year 4 times, and 1 Players Player of the Year. Only 1, which is a bit of a slight, I would have thought. He combines that the pace and the vision, along with his dribbling skill. It's a truly world-class player, an elite winger, which is why he took over a fee of over 100 million to prize him out of Stamford Bridge.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of this season, it was like, Chelsea, you've done a phenomenal thing there. You've moved him on, and he's, you know, he's gone past the peak. He's on the decline now at the start of this season, because like, what has happened to Eden Hazard? But
the same as what happened to Thibaut Courtois.
But he's absolutely got back on track and is now, he's on his way back to being the Eden Hazard that everybody knows and fears. So we've gone through the entire length of the pitch. We just need someone one of our wingers to thread that ball through. The front man is going to put it in the back of the net. This was one of the ones that I struggled with the most, because it's the one where everyone is going to have their own opinions.
Listen, I think, to be honest, the best thing we can do is say who we've gone for, and then we can obviously rhyme off who we could have went for.
Again, who have you got?
Sergio Aguero.
I've gone for Sergio Aguero as well.
I mean,
I couldn't not.
Yeah,
I mean, it was very difficult to pick just one, especially with we're only playing one forward.
We're playing one, yep.
Like the likes of Van Persie didn't make it, Kane didn't make it, Rooney didn't make it,
Vardy didn't make it.
But no, I just think you can't not go.
Has
Sergio Aguero has to make, even if you had to put him at left back, Sergio Aguero was getting in this team.
Yeah.
In some way, shape or form. Purely on numbers alone, even he's since
the numbers
since 2011-12, because we all know you love numbers. That's why find fun. Since 2011-12, when he arrived in the Premier League, he's hit 20 plus Premier League goals in 6 of his 8 full seasons since he's been there. Obviously not including this season, because it's not over yet. But in his previous,
but he'll get more than 20.
Absolutely. So he became Manchester City's all-time top league goal scorer. I think he's the all-time City goal scorer just in general.
Yeah.
But in the league, he's definitely. It's taken him just 8 years to do it. He's got, in 251 appearances, 173 goals, with an average of 0.69 goals per game.
That's just frightening.
Which is disgusting, truth be told. Talented people do my head in. And again, a lad who's won bloody everything. 4 league titles, FA Cup, 4 League Cups, as well as an enormous number of individual honours.
Yeah, he's a little bit good.
And he's going to go on and score bucket loads more goals. So there we go, Keith. That is our Premier League teams of the decade. Again,
controversial,
but then again, that's what you get for having an opinion, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
shout out.
yeah, if you disagree with any of it, which I assume you will, which is the joys of discussion and debate, let us know your team of the decade in the comment section below.
Feel free to shout at us.
They're going to do that anyway. And rightfully so. That's what you're here for. I'll be honest. See, this decade in football, I'm really I haven't
Been a bit meh.
It's been a bit meh. I feel like I haven't got as personally attached to it as I have in previous years.
Well, being a Man United fan, we've kind of gone downhill. So
it's mainly because there's not a whole heap of banter players anymore. Like look at like around 2005 to 2009, there's just at least one player in every team. It's like, how has this happened? How did you become a professional footballer? Everyone's too bloody good now.
It's just the Man United squad in general
Everyone's
these days.
Far too good now. Stop being so bloody good and professional. Everybody go back to being mediocre for my entertainment. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video.
That's us for this one.
And our Premier League teams of the decade. Like we say, let us know your team of the decade in the comment section below. And while you're there, do hit that like button and do hit that subscribe button. It'd be really, really bloody good of you. It only takes a second out of your day to make ours. That was terrible, that.
Hit the notification as well.
Also hit the notification bell.
Ding.
So you're notified of when we make new videos, such as we do quite a few of these chatty stuff.
We do stuff.
We've done live reactions for football games.
We must do another one of those.
We've done the Master League series.
Well, he has.
I have, because I'm really bad at PES, and it's more entertaining to watch someone who's terrible than someone who's adequate. And loads of other stuff. Silly football challenges. We have the Euro African Invitationals, which have ceased to exist now, so it's an archive. But yeah, you'll find something on there that you'll enjoy, I'm pretty sure. And if you don't, let us know what you want to see, and we might get around to doing it. But until then, if we don't see you by the end of the year, have a bloody good Christmas and all that.
Merry Christmas.
If you celebrate Christmas. If you don't, then that's absolutely fine as well.
Merry whatever you celebrate.
Merry whatever you celebrate. Or if you don't at all, you do you. As long as you're happy, that's fine. I hate Christmas, mate. Can't bloody stand it.
Too cold.
Too cold. Although the Christmas dinner's good.
Yeah.
Apart from that, that's really all there is to look forward to. But I'll tell you what else you can look forward to. More of our content, which we will see. That was really good. I was really proud of that.
More of our content.
More of our content. And on that note, it's a goodbye from Keith.
Goodbye.
And it's a goodbye from me. And we will see you
in the next one.
Bloody well as well.